is to receive presentations for or against bylaw 07/2025, amending the Town of High Prairie land use bylaw with the amendments to replace section 9.12 cans with the proposed bylaw that is attached, which would be allowed on a provisional basis. So with that, the notices went out. And for today, so basically we're here to listen to presentations for and against the proposed CCAN bylaw. And we will, I guess the first question is, did we have any written presentations for? There was none received.
Nothing received.
Okay, and was there any, and from the the notes, I see nothing was received against the bylaw either, so nothing was written in for or against. So now we can open the floor for presentations from the floor for the bylaw.
My name is Doug Shanklin, and I represent.
Can I get you just to turn, there's a little button on there. Yeah, perfect. And that'll just make it louder because we do record the video, or we record it and we'll post it. So
Excellent. My name is Doug Shanklin. I'm a representative of Northern Lakes College who put the application in for the CCANs at the campus here in High Prairie. We are moving ahead with a development project for both a residence structure, which is going to be coming shortly, and we're going to need some additional, basically a storage compound where we could store some lawn garden equipment, some of the things like that that we're going to need to be the operation of the campus, as well as storage for changing programs so we can make use of our trade spaces and move equipment out of one part of the bay, store them, and be able to offer multiple programs. What our plan is to do is to take an area on the north side of the solar structures. If you're familiar with the campus at all, we've got solar structures that are along the edge of the green space. We want to take approximately 1/3 of the area under one of the northmost structure and create a storage compound. Within that storage compound, we would have up to three CCANs that would be placed to store facilities equipment and trades equipment on a rotating basis. That would be graveled, and the plan is that we would have it surrounded by an 8-foot or 10-foot basically fence. If you know the campus at all, we have a generator on site just to the west of the campus, and it is surrounded by about an 8-foot tall steel panel fence structure, and it would be our plan to do the same type of structure around the CCANs, so that it would create an enclosed storage area. And CCANs give us the best option, or the current option of doing what is it means a storage area, because we are covered by the solar structures. We provide some protection to equipment and stuff in there, and the equipment that would be stored in the area, the compound around, would be fenced in and contained. That's our plan. In our initial development permit application, that information was detailed, and then we found out afterwards that because of the land use, we had to have a change of land use to proceed with the development permit that was in process. So I guess this is stage 1 of the process. I'm open to questions for anything if you want further explanation, but that's our intent moving forward with the site and why we would want to have the CCANs in place.
So if you're using the northernmost one, there's a drainage ditch in between those two solar panels, so you'd have to have a big culvert to allow the water to run through there.
There's currently the roadway or at the north side, there's a path with a culvert at the drainage ditch already in place.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be doing any change to that. It's all going to be working underneath the existing solar structure. So there shouldn't be any effect with any of the grading, that's there. The only thing we'd be doing would be hauling a bit of gravel into, put a solid base where we're going to be putting those cans in.
Yeah.
Good idea to answer the questions. Hey Doug, good to meet you and thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
So I understand the use of the storage compound. How many sea cans and what length do you plan on having?
The plans put up to 3 20-foot sea cans.
And having purchased these ourselves on the farm, like where are you getting them from?
These are sea cans that we currently have on our Gerard campus. And they're going to be moving off from the Gerard campus, hopefully into this location here.
Are they all one color or are they all white? Are they all pink, blue?
The sea cans are all kind of a royal blue, both the color of the Alberta flag. They're very close in color to that. And at this point, there's 3 identical sea cans that we would be moving into place.
Do they look rough or do they look?
No, they're actually good condition sea cans. They're not rusted. Paint on them is still good condition. They're about as good as you can get for a sea can. They've been sitting, in our Gerard compound for several years here already. Have been taken care of as necessary, and they're in good looking condition at this stage.
Okay, thank you. And the fence, the 8 or 10-foot fence, is that chain link C2 fence or will it be somehow not a C2 chain link fence?
We are open to recommendations from the council, but what we would like to do is actually put a solid steel, like a wood frame with a steel siding surround. Basically the same type of thing as what a tool shed, is made. It would be the 36-inch steel panel to surround that entire structure. So that we're envisioning that, the first stage is to get the base built and the cans in. The second stage would be to get the fence surrounding it, but that it would be a complete storage compound that would not be visible from. And you wouldn't be able to look into it. You wouldn't see any equipment or anything like that once it's actually developed. There would be 3 separate gates facing the north to where we're going to be putting the residential structure. Each one would sort of open up and face onto a sea can, and there may be a second or a fourth gate on the side to allow access or in behind the sea can. The sea cans would take up about half the space of the solar structure. Basically, they would go from position at the very front of the solar structure to about the midpoint of the pillars. That's about the distance they would actually take up. And then the back half behind the area would just be open space for the equipment storage.
And on that note, my next question has to do with the residential structure that you're building. Why not just expand that space? Because there's some costs that you already outlined. You're moving of the sea cans, the fencing, the containment. Why not just build one nice looking, residential structure? Is it just cost because you have these sea cans and you need to move them, or is there another reason? Is it less expensive?
The equipment storage, what we have within our trade space is, one of the programs we operate is our heavy equipment program. And we need to be using a forklift to be able to move this equipment in and out. It's not conducive to what would be part of a residential structure. The residential structure is already, it's already in process. It's a modular construction that is being done. You should be seeing development permits. The development permit's already gone through. The building permit will be placed very shortly. In fact, I think footings and foundations permits are probably going to be, submitted this week, with a full building permit, a couple of weeks, request for that. So that's very much in process right now. And it's just not conducive to have this part of the residential structure.
Thank you, Doug. That's all I have for now.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in and sharing that. That was good information to know, because we did get some of that information. And I'll ask, is there anybody presenting on 4? Okay, I'll move on to any presentations against the bylaw.
I'm not necessarily opposed in any capacity. I wanted to come to learn more about what the intent and plan and what you sort of had well thought through. Do I have to sit there and sit here?
We're friendly. Yeah, we're friendly.
But I want to mostly talk to him, so
Oh, okay.
I don't feel weird if I.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, perhaps you could just start with your name and it's just so it's on the record.
Okay, thank
I
you.
turned the mic off, so I'll have to. And let me,
You can move over.
let me make it a little more easy for you.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, thanks. My name's Natasha Demel. And I live in Silverwood Crescent, so my home backs onto the properties of which you're discussing, and I'm quite familiar, of course, with the solar panels and all of that. So I really just wanted to learn more information about what your planning was, where the CCANs might go, what exactly that might look like. Because there wasn't a ton of info, of course, naturally in the paper. It just said like, these are coming,
Yeah.
Boo. So I wanted to learn a bit more about that. I have a couple of things I'm curious about though. Just in regard to that residential location, if you reside in that location or know folks who do, you'll be aware that obviously we have a trend of unhoused individuals who like to live in the wooded area, like directly behind the creek there, right? And so that area does back onto the college. So I think many of us who live in that neighborhood have experienced a significant uptick in crime from some of the unhoused individuals, as well as folks who are just passing through, given that little bridge section creates a lot of opportunity for folks to wander in and out. And so one of the things I'm curious about was what have you guys done in terms of planning, or like, what are your thoughts aside from the big fence to hopefully deter some of the crime that may come to that area, just given the opportunities for spray painting, graffiti, just opportunities for an increase in continued crime in that neighborhood, given CCANs can at times be quite luring, or maybe you're something that someone might want to vandalize, break into, et cetera.
In conjunction with the residential project that we're building, we are going to be doing some site. The project itself is going to have exterior lighting that's going to light that whole area, both shining back in towards the creek area where the transits tend to come in.
Yeah.
So the additional lighting surrounding the building, as well as site lighting that is going to be placed, hoping that will act to deter, as well as the fact that, we expect to have occupants in these buildings on a regular basis, coming and going, that should act as a deterrent as well.
And so, as it pertains to the residential pieces, when do you anticipate having those occupied then?
This fall, we will be bringing the modular structures in place this fall, if everything goes according to plan. And then we will be opening for programs for the start of the new year. And we're anticipating we would have residents in there. The residence is being geared to the temporary programs where we would have people coming in. We offer a number of programs that are anywhere between 3 weeks and 3 months. And the students will be coming in for those programs. They're going to alternate, they're going to cycle. And our plan is that we're going to have, the residents will hold up to 28 occupants at a time. We're expecting that we're going to get a constant turnover, and we may have a dozen to 15 sort of at any given time in there, with the potential to run 2 courses that can have 24, so have 1 occupant if necessary.
Right, and so have you, like, I know those of us again who live in this neighborhood have experienced that uptick in crime. Has the college experienced that? Like, have you seen an increase in vandalism? Has there been anything, regarding the generator that you've talked about that's already fenced in? Like, do you have that same lighting system and deterrence occurring there? Like, how's that working?
The generator compound that we've got, we actually have not had vandalism in there because the college property itself is lit and it's cambered.
Oh, perfect.
The future development is also going to have additional cameras on the exterior of the building, basically pointing back towards the college and surrounding the area as well. So there, between the lighting and the visible cameras, I think that will be a deterrent to the transient population that makes that place their place of abode right now.
Yeah, absolutely, because right now it certainly is, like.
We have certainly had some problem in the past. And that the increased activity will sort of cause that to move to a little further location away.
Yeah, for sure. That's all I have. Thank you,
All right, thank you.
and thank you so much.
Okay, so we've had the presentations for, and I'll call it against, but the questions that were had there, and just for knowledge, it'll come to our council now. We'll be discussing it later tonight. But we wanted to get all of the feedback and all the information that we can before we take it to council to discuss more. So that's why it's actually a requirement if we're going to be adjusting our land use bylaw to allow these as CCANs as a discretionary use. So this is a requirement that we're going through, and we want to get all of the feedback that we can. So thank you for coming in, both of you, to share that. And we'll, like I said, we'll be debating it tonight, and we've heard the concerns and also more information on what the college is planning to do there. So that's good. That's good.
Doug, I was just wondering, do you currently have any exterior cameras on the corners of Northern Lakes or anywhere exterior?
Yes, we actually have, I think it's 8 cameras taking pictures of the exterior of the building, from the building looking out towards the complete parking lots are covered by camera, as well as the UFA side and the south side. So the complete exterior of the building, we have cameras in all directions.
And will this storage compound be visible through one of those 8?
It will be visible through one of the existing cameras, and will be visible through an anticipated 2 more cameras that will be on the new residential structure.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Natasha. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, if there's nothing else, call this go.
We don't need to hear from coming at David all over.
I don't think so. We've heard from the floor and the against, right? Or do you have anything to add?
Maybe just about.
Okay, come on up then. Yeah.
Thank you.
Doug's with the college.
Oh, okay.
Is that to the
Interacting with Doug a couple of times.
Yeah, we've talked about it
Yes,
before.
that right. Okay.
Natasha's the resident. in-
Oh,
Tomiete is our planner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
nice to meet everyone. Yeah, so I'm not privy to, of course, if there are any concerns and what the responses are, but what I thought about is, I believe during the initial reading, there was issues raised about potential visibility from nearby residences. So even though in the proposed amendment, there is language around requiring buffering around weekends if necessary, I was wondering whether we should make it mandatory if the property is adjacent to a residential property, because once we allow it in this new district, potentially any other lands that are zoned that way could have sequence. This particular property doesn't abut any residential property. There are some vacant lands around this, so it might still make it visible from that, but it doesn't touch any residential property, but other severally zoned lots are part residential property. So I was wondering whether that might be something that council will want to contemplate, that we make it mandatory that if it faces in a residential property, then it shall be screened off completely. Because also we have just received an application from one of the schools to do the same thing. And that property is also zoned same as the northern forest. Yeah. So if, for example, this amendment doesn't go through, that has to be denied as well. So just by way of information.
My thinking is yes,
Okay,
it should be mandatory.
okay,
It's also a discretionary use.
that is correct.
So as a discretionary use, we can make sure that we're asking for that each and every time, but
That is correct.
I think if we're clear that same sort of land use area would have, it's discretionary, so it still would have to come for approval, but
That's correct.
I would say yes, it would have to be
Screen of-
mandatory fencing or built into a structure so that it doesn't look as much like a sea can.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those two.
So maybe once, if council gets into the main deliberations, if council wants to go ahead, then council can still give second and third reading to this bylaw, subject to those additions there. So the final bylaw will reflect that.
Yes, yeah, and we can bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think that's everything then. Thanks again for coming in and sharing this meeting.
Thank you. I was actually student the same requirements for notice.
Yeah.
So
It's,
just
yeah, but does this, up to the public hearing, anybody that was for and against has a chance to speak?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, right? That's maybe something to check with ministerial affairs. Okay. Because, I mean, we could do another one. That would be-
Yeah, and I'll bring this up when everyone's here. Like, yesterday I got tons of commentary about like 4 p.m., 6 p.m. time, public town halls, and they don't work. Yeah, like, because they're shorter, the thing is, maybe 7 or 8